Jake Paul, maybe? Easy. Too easy. It's too easy.
That's right. Gervonta Tank Davis versus me, baby.
It's not over at just because you fighting Jake Paul. Jake Paul ain't no type of demon. It's not like he about to go in there with Godzilla. You about to play around for 8 rounds, 2 minutes with a dickhead. You know what I mean? No disrespect, but you know, with somebody that think they know how to fight. This is a still.
Floyd Mayweather has finally shared his thoughts on the much talked about fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul. Speaking out for the first time, Mayweather didn't hold back. He had high praise for Tank Davis, calling out his incredible power and talent in the ring. Mayweather made it clear that Davis is the real deal, an elite fighter with serious skills. As for Jake Paul, Mayweather was more cautious. He questioned how much of Paul's success is based on actual boxing ability versus hype and showmanship.
Boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta Tank Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder. Nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. recently weighed in on Jake Paul, making it clear that Paul isn't on the same level as top-tier professional boxers. Mayweather acknowledged that Paul has built a following and stirred up excitement, but said his skills just don't compare to fighters who've trained and competed for years at the highest level. Mayweather also commented on the idea of Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Paul. He said if it ever happens, it would be strictly for the payday, not for competition or respect. In his view, such a fight could hurt Davis's legacy. Beating Jake Paul wouldn't mean much for Davis's career, but losing? That could be a major setback.
But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it.
Is he? And Floyd, there are many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents, or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Many boxing insiders aren't taking the idea of a Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight seriously. They see it as more of a publicity stunt than a real matchup. British heavyweight Dave Allen called the whole thing a joke, saying Davis could easily knock Paul out and that both fighters are likely just in it for the money. Promoter Eddie Hearn shared a similar view. He questioned whether Davis is still fully focused on boxing, suggesting he might be more interested in big paydays now than winning titles or building his legacy.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You could knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you are saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
Dave Allen hasn't held back when it comes to the upcoming exhibition between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. He's skeptical about the fight's legitimacy, calling it more of a show than a serious boxing match, mainly due to the big weight difference. Paul fights as a cruiserweight, while Davis is a lightweight, and Allen believes that kind of mismatch hurts the sport's reputation and distracts from real, competitive bouts. Allen also spoke about rising star Moses Itama, saying that to truly prove himself, Itama needs to take on experienced fighters like Dillian White. His comments show that Allen remains focused on keeping boxing competitive and credible.
This might be happening in an exhibition. Thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level, like, and you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. But the Mike Tyson fight I didn't like, The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10-11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same, that they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff, I won't really watch any of it. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level, I think he works really hard, I think he trains hard, and I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. For his experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight, so by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is he having a rematch with the fella he got a draw with? Why is he not fighting? Why is he not going up a weight and fighting Lopez and Garcias and them fighters? Why is he fighting Jake Paul in an exhibition? I get the money's great, but he's in the prime years. It's his best year. This is where he can become. Maybe you don't want to be an all-time great. Maybe you don't want to do all this.
Boxing writer Keith IDK didn't hold back, calling the idea that Gervonta Davis is avoiding Jake Paul completely misleading. He made it clear that suggesting Davis is ducking Paul instead of fighting Lamont Roach isn't accurate. According to IDK, the rematch with Roach is a legitimate mandatory fight, something Davis is contractual and professionally obligated to do. His main point? The spotlight should stay on fulfilling real boxing commitments, not getting distracted by flashy crossover events.
Well, I think as we discuss this, we should use air quotes when we call it a fight, because I don't see how any athletic commission, in this case the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, could sanction this as a legitimate boxing match. I think it has to be treated as entertainment to some degree, because you can't put someone they're 65 pounds apart in weight for the most part now, if you look at the cruiserweight limit and the lightweight limit. Even if Jake Paul somehow got down to, let's just say, 180, and I'm not sure that he'd be able to do that at this point because he's fought so high in weight. Let's just say he got down to 180. They're still 45 pounds apart in weight, and that's just not safe. So if this were to be treated as some sort of, even though they're calling it an exhibition, a legitimate athletic event, I don't know how you could do that, because it's just not safe for someone that big and someone that small to fight each other. That's why they have weight classes, and I just don't understand. I do understand that Netflix is into tentpole events, and people will watch this because they're into the spectacle of it all, and it will draw eyeballs. But does anything that anyone pitches that people will watch, does that make it a good idea?
Dana White has given Jake Paul some credit over the years, especially when it comes to his promotional skills. In 2024, White admitted that Paul knows how to draw attention and connect with fans, saying he doesn't actually dislike him. He sees Paul as someone simply trying to make noise in the sport. White also praised Logan Paul, calling him smart for the way he's helped bring more eyes to combat sports. While they haven't always seen eye to eye, White acknowledged that both Paul brothers have had a real impact on the fight game.
Jake said that I snort cocaine, that I'm a cokehead. My rebuttal to that was, I'll tell you what, you can test me for the next 5 years for cocaine if I can test you randomly for performance-enhancing drugs the next 2 years. And I never got a response on that. But other than when me and Jake Paul have gone back and forth with each other, I've never said anything to defame him. And then when he was talking about his fights being fixed, I don't think that people are actually saying that they're predetermined outcomes, that they're fixing the fights, with predetermined outcomes. They're saying, if you're fighting a 60-year-old fucking guy that can barely walk to the fucking ring, right, and almost died 2 months before that, it's almost like a predetermined outcome. That's what they're fucking saying.
Jake Paul may have the upper hand going into his exhibition match against Gervonta Davis on November 15, 2025, at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. While Davis boasts an impressive 30-1 record and is known for his explosive power and speed, the size difference is hard to ignore. Paul is about 65 pounds heavier and stands 6 feet 1 inch, towering over Davis, who is 5 foot 5 1/2. Because this is an exhibition fight, not a sanctioned pro bout, the weight gap could play a major role. Davis's usual strengths might not translate as effectively under these conditions. Meanwhile, Paul's size, confidence, and calculated strategy could give him just enough edge to pull off an unexpected result.
Man, this fight has to be the most talked about thing that's going on in sports right now. And this fight has made us all hypocrites, really, and I tell you why. Also, I got to tell you guys who I think will win the fight and why I think Jake Paul wins the fight. I think either Jake Paul wins or it's a draw.
No.
No way.
Nope.
Since it's an exhibition, and we'll talk about that. But you saw at the beginning, this fight is just impactful. And as boxing pugilists, many of us, we hate this shit. But as boxing fans, you want real shit, right? You see Tank Davis versus Jake Paul, but then what you really want is what you're getting out of like Brian Norman Jr. and Devin the American Dream Haney.
Show me my bitch. Show me my bitch. Show me my bitch. Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here. Shut up. Your motherfucker. Shut up. Shut up.
What the fuck your security at, nigga?
I don't need
right here.
Yeah, what's up, nigga?
Bitch ass
nigga? You a bitch, nigga. You a bitch.
Shit.
Yeah, alright.
You have Gervonta Tank Davis fanboys. I'm talking about huge fans of Tank turning over on him. I saw Tank Davis fans put up pictures of him as a clown and shit. Like, this is crazy. And I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, it has revealed a huge amount of hypocrisy. Because guess what? With everybody talking about this fight, and I've seen people talking about the fight who doesn't even watch boxing, especially those who don't watch boxing. Let's keep it real. This is a fight for the casuals, okay? But at the same time, with so many people talking about this fight, good or bad, the way the internet just erupted and all the socials just went crazy, this fight is going to be one of the biggest fights in history.